How to make anyone fall in love with you instantly, especially if you're on a date right now. Well, obviously not right now because you're watching this video, so if you're watching this on a date, there's the reason why they're not falling in love with you. So yes, I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do, exactly how you can do it, so that after this video, you have the exact tools of what to do. But I'm also gonna tell you one thing. Don't manipulate people. Do not use this stuff to manipulate people. The only reason I'm sharing this is because I used to really struggle with communication. Now that I don't struggle with communication, it's my duty to help other people not struggle with it, because there's certain things you can do to make people like you. Now, if they're not meant to be in your life, they're not meant to be in your life. And I'm not gonna tell you everyone you use these specific techniques on is gonna fall in love with you, because also you shouldn't try to do it to the wrong person. If you're not going to be with them, that's okay. And I've used this in the past and it hasn't worked. And that was the best thing that didn't happen. But then I've also used it in the past and it has worked. And it's not from a manipulation point of view, it's from a communication point of view. Please, please, please understand that. But once you have these superpowers, you can use them to help and encourage people to like you, and also help people fall in love with you, to find your perfect partner. So the first thing that you can do is something called matching and mirroring. For example, if you're on a date and you're sitting there and they are sitting like this with their hand like this, you have the choice to either match or mirror. Now, mirroring is doing the exact opposite. So if I've got my right hand like this and I'm leaning to the right and you're sitting opposite me, you lean to the left and use your left hand. So you'll be going like that, but you'll be mirroring just like you are effectively looking in a mirror. We unconsciously feel more comfortable around people who are like us and do things like we do. Therefore, if you walked into a party and you're a very shy person, you're going to want to speak to the shyer people, versus if you walked into a party and you're more of a confident person, you're going to want to speak to the more confident people. So this little technique, I use it all the time, and I've only ever, and I'm not a massive date person, I don't go on loads of dates. And this has only not worked. Like, I've always got a second date effectively if I've been on the first one. Like I said, I haven't been on loads of dates. So I'm not the best example to use as the dating expert, because I'm definitely not. But I know it works because of how psychology works. I understand psychology, I understand human behavior. So if you use matching and mirroring, and even for example, if they fold their arms, you fold your arms. Now, it's not an instant thing where they fold their arms and you fold your arms straight away. Or they lean to the right and you lean to the right. Or they clap their hands and you clap your hands. It's not instant. It's about being subtle with it, but adding it in when you are talking. So let's say, for example, we're on a date right now. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. You look beautiful. You look wonderful. You look amazing. You're incredible. But imagine we're on a date right now and I started talking about something and I said, oh, I really can't wait to go out to Mexico. I really want to run some retreats in Mexico. Have you ever thought about going out to Mexico before? Well, I have actually thought of going out to Mexico before. That would be such a good idea. Not always on the first time, but that first time can work. Don't overdo it, because then they'll just think you're copying them and then they'll think you're very weird. But doing it subtly and a few times will help them feel more comfortable around you. And that's where matching and mirroring can really stick out and help people like you more, because they feel more comfortable around you. The second thing you can do is what some people may find frustrating is actually very endearing to everyone if you don't know the person. So for example, and imagine you said to me right now, yeah, so I actually got my silver car because I work at home and I've worked at home for the past 2 years. The best thing to say is sort of abbreviate what they said, but say what they said. Oh, so you work at home and you got a silver car, that's amazing. What car is it? So what you're doing is you're sort of abbreviating what they said and repeating it back to them. You're putting it into small context, but you're showing that you're listening, because nothing is worse than having a conversation and someone just sitting there on their phone the whole time and completely ignoring you. You wouldn't like that, would you? Because it's just really frustrating. If someone's not listening to you versus if someone is listening to you, you can immediately tell, because they're literally repeating the words that you've said. So just repeating back little things, not everything, but some little things at the end of sentences will immediately gauge that you are listening and you're engaged in the conversation. This will really help your odds of them liking you. And the third and final thing that you can do is find some commonalities. Obviously, you're going to go on a date because there's commonalities there anyway. Find those commonalities, talk about those commonalities, and find two things that you both vibe with, because at the end of the day, I don't know, my personal opinion is opposites don't attract. I don't believe that, because you've got to have some level to be able to talk on. And if you look at some of the best relationships, they usually have commonalities, whether that is they are in a similar field, or they like a similar sport, or they both go to the gym, or they like, or they're both vegan, or something like that. There's some commonalities, there's a commonality. Find that commonality and work with it, expand on it, ask questions about it. Be a very good questioner, because what you want to do is you don't want to talk too much, you want to let them talk too much. Because when you talk about yourself, you don't realize it, but you love to talk about yourself. We all love to talk about ourselves. So if we're getting them to talk about themselves, naturally they're going to want to be around us more because they get to feel good about themselves. So being a good questioner is very important. This is also very important in a healing sense. And in order to allow ourselves to heal, we must be a good questioner. In order to allow people to like us, we must be good at questioning. Because to be a good conversator or to be a good conversationalist, you don't need to be a good talker. You just need to be a good questioner and listener. And that will make you an engaging conversationalist because you're talking about what they want to talk about. The easiest way to remove nerves in a situation is chuck everything to them. Ask them the questions. Get them to talk about themselves, and then they will start to like you that much more. But the final thing I want to add to this whole situation to make it worth your time is do not settle just because you have a commonality. Don't settle just because it's the only person you can get. And I truly, truly believe that, because you deserve everything and anything. And we shouldn't try to manipulate people to like us or love us when they're not the right person. And if they're not the right person, we have to accept that. That's not something that we should want to change. And I've actually studied how manipulation works and how dark psychology works, because I want to be able to share it with people so that they can use it for good, not bad. Because yes, there's things that you can do to manipulate someone, but that's not going to last. Love always prevails. Love always prevails. And if you allow yourself to really understand that you can become a good conversator by doing these 3 things: matching and mirroring, repeating back at the end of the statement, and summarizing what they've just said. Not all the time, remember, all this is not all the time. Finding commonalities and being a good questioner, they're going to immediately want to fall in love with you because of how you are as a being. Now, you don't have to be the most confident person to do this. You don't have to be the most outgoing person to do this. These are just skills that you can learn. Anyone can learn them. If you want me to dive any deeper, put it in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to explain how you can really expand on all of this. And if you haven't already, go and check out my new book, Kintsugi for the Mind, Manifest Your Perfect Life Despite Your Painful Past. Get it on Amazon, click the link down below. And other than that, subscribe.